If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Getting ready to step into your career era? Set yourself apart with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Hone your skills with apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, and more, powered with the latest in creative AI. Students save over 55% so you can build a portfolio you're proud of. Launch your future with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Visit adobe.com/students to learn more.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, everybody talking about Zorhan Mamdani, the big debate tomorrow. Curtis Sliwa saying he is not dropping out. He is not going anywhere. And in the meantime, also, President Trump weighing in saying we cannot have a socialist, but it looks like that's where we're going because the anti-Mamdani vote will not solidify. And at this point, Curtis Sliwa is not dropping out, even though, according to all polls that we've seen, he has half the votes of Cuomo. Curtis saying he's not a quitter and he is staying in. And in the meantime, also many people raising the alarm bells about Zorhan Mamdani. Here it is. They're going, whoa, whoa, whoa. I cannot believe it is 2 weeks away. And there may be one of the most radical politicians ever taking over a major city. So are we going to see anything dramatic tomorrow night? Let's hope so, guys. I'm going to play that Newt Gingrich clip again because that's what needs to happen tomorrow night. But first off, here's a little bit of Zorhan Mamdani. This is during the last debate, because if you really listen to this guy, he sort of slides in the words, just like you just heard in that 2019 clip that we just found. In this particular clip, he talks about genocide, apartheid, all code words against Israel. So here he is saying, oh, I'm not anti-Semitic, but I won't agree. I do not believe Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state. He's anti-Semitic. Here's a little more from last debate.
On Fox News, you were asked if Hamas should lay down its weapons, key to the peace plan and ceasefire. And some say they found your answer confusing. You said, quote, I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety and the fact that anything has to abide by international law. And that applies to Hamas and that applies to the Israeli military. So for the voters tuning in tonight, Mr. Mamdani, what do you believe about Hamas and how lasting peace will be achieved? We know it's a complicated matter, but we'd like you to keep your answer to a minute if you could.
Of course, I believe that they should lay down their arms. I'm proud to be one of the first elected officials in the state who called for a ceasefire. And calling for a ceasefire means seizing fire. That means all parties have to cease fire and put down their weapons. And the reason that we call for that is not only for the end of the genocide, but also an unimpeded access of humanitarian aid. I, like many New Yorkers, am hopeful that this ceasefire will hold. I'm hopeful that it is durable. I'm hopeful that it is just. And for it to be just, we also have to ensure that it addresses the conditions that preceded this. Conditions like occupation.
Genocide, occupation, apartheid. No wonder many people in the Jewish community are deeply, deeply concerned about Zorhan Mamdani and will he be a mayor for all people. I hate to say it, I don't think so. Here is New York City Rabbi Elliot Cosgrove, a liberal rabbi, Park Avenue Synagogue. It's a very big synagogue, and he is pleading with New Yorkers, saying Zorhan Mamdani will be dangerous to Jews in New York.
I believe Zorhan Mamdani poses a danger to the security of the New York Jewish community. Mamdani's refusal to condemn insightful slogans like globalize the Intifada, his denial of Israel's legitimacy as a Jewish state, his call to arrest Israel's prime minister should he enter New York, and his thrice repeated accusation of genocide in Thursday's debate, for these and so many other statements, past, present, and unrepentant, he is a danger to the Jewish body politic of New York City.
And speaking which, in the last debate, he was asked, hey, what are your plans? Will you be organizing in some of these pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas protests? Remember, he was kneeling in the last one, helping to block streets, doing a whole bunch of things. Will you join them? Will you be a part of these protests? And his answer was, get this. His answer was, I'll be leading from the mayor's office. So then the next question is, wait, you'll be leading? Are you saying that you will be still organizing from the mayor's office? Are you going to be leading the protests? Are you going to be telling, the NYPD stand down? Let them rummage through the city? Let them harass Jewish students? What are you going to do? What are you leading from the mayor's office? That was really concerning. And there, the moderators just gave him a free pass. That's what I'm worried is going to happen tomorrow night. I am worried the moderators are going to go, okay, thank you, Zorhan Mamdani. That's a lovely statement that you want to occupy. Great. That you're having trouble with condemning Hamas. Oh, great. Next question. Let's hope that is not the case. But here is Zorhan Mamdani in the last debate asked about what role he will have in these protests.
Protest is a part of what makes this city's history what it is. It is a part of the First Amendment. We deserve to have a mayor who stands up for that First Amendment, especially as we have a president that's looking to shred it at each and every opportunity. And we will continue to have protests in this city, as we should, no matter who is the mayor. And the line will be on the question of breaking the law. What we have today, however, is an attempt to intimidate so many who are looking to use that freedom of expression to share their opinions about the city and the world around them. And to be frank with you, what New Yorkers are looking for is someone who can show leadership in City Hall. Because when they don't see that leadership, that's when so many take to the streets. And if you had a leader like Andrew Cuomo, who was telling people not to overreact when they see ICE agents abducting girls as young as 6 years old to deport them, many New Yorkers will take to the streets. We deserve to have a leader who will actually be following through on the values of the city. That's the leader that I'll be.
Mr. Mamdani, just a quick follow-up. If you're elected, would you still participate in protests?
No, if I'm elected, I'll be the mayor, and I'll be leading the city from City Hall.
But no participation in protests, right?
The important thing is to lead from City Hall. That's what I'll be doing.
Okay.
Yeah. If I may respond, because I believe my name was invoked.
A very brief response, and then I have a question for you.
I dealt with ICE. I stood up with ICE. I had a war with ICE here in New York when I was governor. And I stood them down, and they moved out. What the assemblyman is saying is he doesn't believe in law and order. He believes in defunding the police, disarming the police, disbanding the police. That's who he is. Abolish jails.
Sorry, I have a question for you. 15 seconds. Very quickly. And then we do just 15 seconds because we have a question for Mr. Cuomo.
Mr. Cuomo lies again and again and again. I am not running to defund the police. I am running to actually work with the police to deliver public safety. Andrew Cuomo says that he has stood up to ICE. He has not said a word about the abductions that are happening right now.
He's referring to a previous comment you made, and we will get back to this. But Mr. Cuomo, a question for you.
It's a comment he made. Is the operative language.
Yes,
I'll still be leading from the mayor's office. He wouldn't say he's not going to be leading. And then you just heard him saying he's bragging, Mamdani, about telling NYPD to stand down because he says ICE is abducting people off the streets. There's already chaos in so many American cities. Can you imagine this guy who wants to give illegal migrants, including criminal illegal migrants, because obviously they're criminals, but more importantly, the violent criminal migrants. I'm talking about those with significant criminal history. He wants to give them a free pass. He just said it. This is what he is saying. Lawlessness by the first degree with this guy. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Sandra in New Jersey, line 3. Go ahead, Sandra, your thoughts tonight.
Good evening, Rita. Tonight I saw a movie called, it's called The Red Alert. And it's a true story about what happened on October 7th, the worst massacre of the Jews since the Holocaust. People say, Rita, never again. Well, October 7th proved it can happen again, and it did. And if we are we close our eyes, it can happen here. So when I think about Mamdani as the next mayor, I get sick because I know that he is not for the Jewish people. And then when I saw this movie that I think everyone should see, it's going to open up their eyes maybe, and you can easily get it on Paramount Plus. You can stream all the episodes. It's an amazing story, Rita. I was really, really.
How many episodes is it?
I think it's only 3.
Oh, wow. That sounds, by the way, but you know, your point, Sandra, is a very important one, that people say never again. But part of the reason that we try to ensure that doesn't happen, and obviously it did on October 7th, is to make sure that we stand up, that good people stand up and elect people that are courageous and that truly show leadership and that will crack down. And bottom line is, right now, we're on the precipice of electing somebody who is a terrorist sympathizer, who was out there protesting with those pro-Palestinians. And you just heard what he said. The more I listen to that clip, the more frightened I get. The one I just played, because he talks about ICE being, snatching people and off the street and how he's going to lead the protest from the mayor's office. He's not saying he's not going to be a part of it. He's saying he's going to be leading. And he keeps talking about freedom of expression. What is freedom of expression? If they're breaking into stores or they're threatening Jewish students or holding a custodian hostage, as was alleged at Columbia University. Is that freedom of expression? He may think so, Sandra. And this really is a really frightening moment, and somebody who I do not believe will be good for the Jewish people. He's not going to be good for New Yorkers in general. And that's why it really is a scary moment. So what do you think needs to happen in the race, Sandra?
Well, I think we have to have a 2-man race, and the one who has the most votes be that man. And then I pray that man wins and we move on and we just, that's what I hope for. I hope may the best man win, the one who has the most votes. That's the way you got to go. I mean, and someone's not going to be happy. But as Judy said earlier, I heard Cuomo say that he would be very happy to have Curtis in his administration doing something very important.
And by the way, I could see that being terrific. The problem is I don't see Curtis right now at this moment accepting anything less than being the number one. I don't see it. I see him so steadfast, no matter how much the numbers are saying otherwise. I see him so focused and so steadfast that he's determined that, he thinks he can win. Nobody else, if you look at the numbers, just from a numbers perspective, whether he should be the person or not is a whole other story. But with his background and all that. But the reality is you look at where the numbers are. And it's really disconcerting. And especially the fact that this new one from Fox News has Mamdani even further ahead. I mean, this is a crisis. This is not oh, good luck. It's a shame it didn't work out. This is a disaster. It's not a choice of 3 decent candidates. One of them, by far, is a clear and present danger to New York and America. And whatever can be done to stop him needs to be done. The problem is the clock is ticking. And that consolidation should have happened a while ago. And if it doesn't happen in the next day or two, I think New York is done. And that's a really sad thing. And somebody needs to step aside for the good of New York City. That's the reality. Sandra, thank you very much. Let's go to Mark in New York on line 1. Go ahead, Mark, your thoughts.
Yes, 2 quick points, if you wouldn't mind. First is I think Curtis should take a page out of Bobby Kennedy's book. He had the humility to step aside when he was losing, and look at how well he's doing now as the total facts have surprised everybody. Bobby is now a very influential man. Secondly, John
That's a great point. By the way, that's a great point. Go ahead, Mark.
John Catsimatidis has both the carrot and the sword here. If we can portray a picture of day after election and Curtis has lost, then he's going to go from hero to zero with many of us. And John could say to him, well, we warned you not to, and we don't have to rehire you as an anchor, an announcer on WABC. And furthermore, you're going to be losing all your loyal supporter base. I'm one of them. I like Curtis before this, but his egotism is getting the better of his brain. And I think that John Catsimatidis could portray a future. This has been a few months of high for Curtis with all the attention, but the rest of his life he's going to be looked at, and he's going to lose his job as an announcer on your station.
Yeah, who knows where this goes, Mark? Who knows? I mean, look, hopefully he does the right thing, sadly, and it's a tough decision. You know, my heart breaks for anybody in that position, but you cannot lose this city to Mamdani, and any option that looks like the best option to avoid him from doing that needs to be taken. Egos need to be put aside, and the good of the city needs to come first. And hopefully that happens here. 1-800-848-9222. We'll continue after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to your calls, guys. Boy, oh boy, the race for New York City mayor is an enormous one. We're also going to be talking later on this hour about the stepped up efforts, sadly, against ICE. There was a case in Los Angeles, by the way, today, where a migrant rammed his vehicle into an ICE car. The migrant was shot. Also, by the way, the ICE agent was shot. I mean, this is dangerous stuff. And they're using vehicles as weapons against ICE agents. And there are actual groups out there that are encouraging it, which is why you got to have leaders who support law and order. Let's go to Joaquin on line 3. Go ahead, Joaquin. Your thoughts tonight.
Good evening, Rita. I know you don't like it when I say some of these things, but I do think that Curtis really needs to, for his own self-respect, gracefully bow out of this, because he's not going to have a chance to win. And I do agree that with him that, when he attacked Cuomo in the last debate, it's exactly what I would have done, because you're not going to pull any supporters away from Mamdani. They're just a bunch of rabid idiots, So his only chance was to knock Cuomo out of the picture, and that might have given him a shot. But since that didn't work, I think that now's the time for him to just basically, for his own self-respect, gracefully bow out of it and leave it to Cuomo. But I still don't see Cuomo as an alternative because,
the problem is, BJ, the problem is, Joaquin, it is a choice of bad options. That's the problem. But you don't want a terrorist sympathizer.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on.
So what needs to happen in the debate tomorrow? That is the key. Will there be some incredible, powerful moment? I'm going to play the Newt Gingrich clip again in a few minutes because I love that one. That's what really needs to happen. There needs to be some stunning breakout moment to change the shape of this race. I was hoping maybe Curtis was going to do it in the first debate. There are people who've suggested he drop out months ago. I said, let's see what happens. But tomorrow night really is the last chance for voters to be able to see something that would absolutely alter the way that it looks like Mamdani becoming the mayor of the Big Apple. And that's scary because just a little bit ago also, the guy who's probably going to be his number 2 if Mamdani gets elected is this guy named Brad Lander. He is the comptroller in New York City. And he joined with a whole bunch of other far left Democrats, if you will, calling for the New York Police Department, get this, to arrest ICE, saying that ICE is like snatching people off the streets of New York. And they are suggesting that the New York Police Department step in and arrest ICE. You have got to be kidding me. ICE is coming in, getting rid of some pretty bad folks. And what are they saying? don't worry about the bad folks, the criminals. You should be going after ICE. Here is Brad Lander. Take a listen.
If I had said to you a year ago, what would happen right now if an individual wearing a mask, not in a law enforcement uniform or wearing a badge or identifying themselves, but just wearing a mask, rolled up here and grabbed one of you without presenting a judicial warrant, without identifying themselves, what should happen? I think almost any of you would have said a year ago, well, obviously, the NYPD should prevent that kidnapping from happening, should arrest the person executing that lawless abduction, should protect the individual in question, and should explore, yes, whether that's a kidnapping and the person should be arrested and held accountable. And I'll be honest, I don't even think it would have been that contentious. I really think everyone, especially if I said, what if it's almost always people of color? What if it's with, no particular warning or identification? Everyone would have said, that's why we have police officers, is to protect kidnappings by masked thugs who don't identify themselves and who would try to grab people and haul them away. That's what the rule of law looks like. That's one of the main reasons we have NYPD officers. And I just think everyone would have said, that's how we do it.
That's incredible. So ICE is a group of kidnappers. I've never seen kidnappers who are trying to get rid of criminals. This is really extraordinary, but that's the kind of language. The ICE is kidnappers. Israel is apartheid. Police are racist. Some of these things, they don't even hide. And then, of course, let's not forget, and I'll be watching tomorrow because I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about ICE. There were some raids today, too. So there will definitely, I'm sure, be some comments tomorrow in the debate on this. But all I remember is in the last debate, that whole story where Mamdani was asked about what do you think should happen with ICE? What do you think, especially with criminals? Do you think we should get criminals off the streets? And then he started talking about ICE overreach, and he shared the story of this pastor who snuck a criminal outside the back door, and he was praising the pastor. Remember this one?
I heard from Pastor in East Flatbush, Pastor Galbraith, who told me how he accompanied a member of his congregation to 26 Federal Plaza. He sat there as a judge was determining her fate. They managed to convince the judge to replace the deportation order with a TPS order, but they knew that ICE would not care about that change, and they had to sprint her out of the building, smuggling her into the elevator in order to get her back to Brooklyn.
And he was happy about that. So when you got a guy like that, and then we'll see what the moderators do. Will the moderators be much more balanced than we saw in the first one? I thought the moderators in the first debate were terrible. They really gave Zorhan Mamdani a free pass. After he told that story, the moderator goes, okay, thank you, Zorhan. And now let's move on to the next question. As opposed to, wait, you're condoning letting a prisoner escape? Isn't that aiding and abetting? No. Thank you, Zorhan. So if you have moderators like that, and if they try to cut off Curtis Sliwa, I don't think they will, this group, but I think the last group clearly did. They marginalized Curtis. He's got to come up for air, and he's got to have an enormous breakout moment, or his race is done. So let's see. And by the way, the race overall is done if there's not a big breakout moment in general, whether it means Curtis dropping out or Curtis really chopping Mamdani down to size. If there's not some stunning moment or Cuomo doing something dramatic to Mamdani, some new information that comes out that gets somebody to go, almost anything short of that, it's Mayor Mamdani, and that breaks my heart. But let's take it from Newt Gingrich, because they got to put on, I describe it, their big boy pants and really deliver tomorrow night. Maybe deliver like Newt Gingrich.
As you know, your ex-wife gave an interview to ABC News and another interview at the Washington Post, and this story has now gone viral on the internet. In it, she says that you came to her in 1999 at a time when you were having an affair. She says you asked her, sir, to enter into an open marriage. Would you like to take some time to respond to that?
No, but I will. I think the destructive, vicious, negative nature of much of the news media makes it harder to govern this country, harder to attract decent people to run for public office. And I am appalled that you would begin a presidential debate on a topic like that.
Is that all you want to say, sir?
Let me finish.
Please.
Every person in here knows personal pain. Every person in here has had someone close to them go through painful things. To take an ex-wife and make it 2 days before the primary a significant question in a presidential campaign is as close to despicable as anything I can imagine. My two daughters wrote the head of ABC and made the point that it was wrong, that they should pull it, and I am frankly astounded that CNN would take trash like that and use it to open a presidential debate.
As you noted, Mr. Speaker, this story did not come from our network. As you also know, it is the subject of conversation on the campaign. I get your point. I take your point.
John, it was repeated by your network. You chose to start the debate with it. Don't try to blame somebody else. You and your staff chose to start this debate with it. Now, let me be quite clear. The story is false. Every personal friend I have who knew us in that period says the story was false. We offered several of them to ABC to prove it was false. They weren't interested because they would like to attack any Republican. They're attacking the governor. They're attacking me. I'm sure they'll presently get around to Senator Santorum and Congressman Paul. I am tired of the elite media protecting Barack Obama by attacking Republicans.
Now, the only problem is that was in South Carolina. Tomorrow's debate is going to be at LaGuardia Performing Arts Center at LaGuardia Community College in Queens, New York. So the crowd, depending who's in the crowd, usually, all the campaigns get some folks who they can put in the audience, but also they might pull in students. And you could bet probably most of the students will be cheering for Zorhan Mamdani. But it doesn't mean you can, you can just ignore the moderators, ignore the audience, and go for it. Because New York is at stake. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to BJ in Queens. BJ, your thoughts tonight. Boy, oh boy, I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. I hope I am pleasantly surprised that there is going to be some breakout big moment, BJ, because if not, Mayor Mamdani.
Yeah, no, I don't agree, Rita. I'm sorry. There's two things I don't like hearing that I've been hearing lately. I don't. First of all, I don't know why everyone's clutching their pearls. This had been going on for months. This guy was on the radar when he confronted Tom Homan. Okay, that was a contrivance that he did on purpose to put him on the radar, number one. Number two, people keep saying, we love Curtis, but he should get out of the race. Well, if you loved Curtis, you should have supported him and took him seriously. So those two things I really don't want to, Curtis, this is a fantasy that Curtis is going to get out. He's not going anywhere. Okay, so maybe. By
the way, I agree with you. I don't think he is. I think some people think, maybe he's saying that. Look, Eric Adams said that, and then the next day he dropped out. So, but I think this is different.
Adams.
Right. I think it's different.
Sliwa.
Right.
Okay, two different men. I will tell you this.
But no, let me ask you a question, BJ. You think it's right for him to stay in if it means throwing the race for Mamdani?
No, he's not throwing. First of all, that's loaded. He's not throwing the race for anyone. He won his primary. If Andrew Cuomo was so good and such a great campaigner and such a popular governor, why didn't he win his Democrat Party? Because he's not wanted. He's not that good. and he doesn't belong in the race. If anyone doesn't belong in the race, it's him. It's he who should bow out. No matter.
And
no matter
by the
what
way, BJ, you heard what I said. I mean, you know where I'm coming. Listen. I don't think Cuomo by any means is a panacea. I mean, there is no doubt about that. The reality is you look at the numbers, and remember, Curtis was unopposed in the primary. So for him too, he didn't have a challenger in the primary. He ran unopposed. I agree with you that Cuomo ran, a terrible primary, and we are where we are. The problem is New York is where it's at. And that's the problem. That's the problem, BJ. And I'm not believe me, I'm not one of the first ones to say, hey, drop out. But I also am looking at the numbers, and I'm saying the anti-Mamdani vote needs to consolidate, and it can't be just I'm dropping out. Whoever drops out, all right, let's just even keep it generic. Whoever drops out, it has to be embracing. It has to be press conferences. It has to be education that we all want you to vote for X. We're all in this together. It needs to be a cohesive, unorthodox sort of group of folks. And by the way, that also includes Eric Adams. Even though he didn't have as many votes, he dropped out. He has yet to endorse someone, and whoever he endorses needs to be out there, because people are going to start voting if they still see them on the ballot, which they will. There needs to be this massive education campaign that we want you to all vote for X. And that it's a sad reality, BJ. And believe me, I wish this was a whole different time and a different race. But the reality is you got this guy who is, I think, literally will destroy New York and is telegraphing it every single day. He just talked about the genocide of the Jews, and that was last week in a debate where he's trying to play nice. This is the honeymoon period. This guy is going to be such a danger to New York when he gets into the office, and such a danger to America that whatever combination it takes to get him out, I hope the anti-Mamdani vote come together and figure it out, because right now, 3 people in the race, it ain't going to work, BJ. That's the facts. Go ahead.
Well, Rita, there's a couple of things here. Number one, Curtis has to bring it tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, because by the way, that's why I keep saying, let's see a breakout moment. And he had a chance last week. He did not.
I'll tell you what the breakout moment is, Rita. The breakout moment is that he tells the world he wants to discuss this imam that Mamdani has embraced, and also the funding of his campaign. The funding his campaign is coming from really dark sources. So these are the only breakout moments he has. No magic bullet here. Okay, the die has been cast in so many ways. And by the way, Curtis.
They should be spending a lot of money on opposition then, because we know those facts, BJ. Guess what? A good opposition team, and I'm not just talking about Curtis, I'm talking about Cuomo too. I mean, quite frankly, Cuomo should have done a much better opposition in the primary, as we talked about. But anybody who's running against Mamdani right now should be spending. There's a lot of money, and you have to spend it. The campaigns, you got 2 weeks. What better way than to find some big blockbuster thing that's probably in Mamdani's background? Look what we found out since he won the primary in June. Nobody really was looking at him before June. And since June, I've read, I don't know how many of his tweets. And we just played that other comment that just emerged from 2019. So I have a feeling there is a lot of stuff out there. That's where they should be spending their campaign money, as opposed to saying, hey, vote for me, because that's not going to work. What is going to work is suddenly something that's like, oh, my goodness, that is really bad. I didn't hear that before. And that's what opposition research is. And I bet you there's a treasure trove on this guy. And the clock is ticking. That's the best use of taxpayer money right now, is to go after these guys, not repeat what we've said, and not be nice to Mamdani. Because last time Curtis was way too nice to Mamdani, because he spent his whole time going after Cuomo, and he and Mamdani were agreeing. That doesn't serve New York.
Well, I think that Errol Lewis, I believe he's one of the moderators. He's a little bit better than the other people. I'm not a big Errol Lewis fan, but I think he's going to be one of the moderators, and I think he's going to be a little bit fairer to the candidates because I think he understands that it's not about him, it's not about the candidates, it's about the people of New York. They deserve to get the most information before they make a decision. I will say this, Rita. I really resent anyone telling me who to vote for. I'm not going to name names.
And by the way, me too. Just so you know, that's why so everybody knows.
Great,
and you know this, BJ. I've never told anybody who I've ever voted for, and I don't tell people who to vote for. I will say, in this time, don't vote for Mamdani. I'll just tell you who not to vote for.
I agree. I agree with you. You and I are on the same page then, so we're going to get a good result.
Good. Let's pray, BJ. And we'll be watching tomorrow. You got to call me tomorrow night after you watch the debate. We'll be talking about it tomorrow night on the Rita Cosby Show. BJ, thank you, my friend. Always good to hear from you. And boy, we all love New York and we love America. Everybody, we're going to continue with your calls after the break. But first, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a powerful story from Florida, where leaders there took the time this week to honor a true American hero, the local community's last living World War II veteran, who was presented with a special proclamation given to naval veteran Joseph Williams, recognizing his service to the nation. He served in the Pacific Theater during World War II, where the war between the Allies and the Empire of Japan unfolded. And get this, earlier last month, Williams celebrated another milestone birthday for a true American hero, as September 30th, get this, was his 106th birthday. How incredible is that? So he is 106 and also honored by his local community for his great service to our nation. And bravo to him and, of course, his family and all of our great members of the greatest generation of World War II. And everybody, America's heroes really need your help. Donate $11 a month to the great Tunnel to Towers Foundation. They are incredible. Be sure to check them out at T2T.org, T2T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to Norm. Go ahead, Norm. What do you think for tomorrow night, my friend?
What do I think? I think BJ is twisted, man. You're standing on ideology. You're standing on principle. This is 5 to midnight, man. And I don't mean it just on the Rita Show. I mean, this is, extraordinary times take extraordinary measures, man. And I'm going to try to go tomorrow night. I'll see if I can get in.
Oh, wow. We'll see. Listen, Norm, especially regardless, you got to call into the show tomorrow night. I can't wait to get your take and everybody's take tomorrow night. Make sure you give us a call, 1-800-848-9222. And Norm, especially if you get in, any of you who get in, I definitely want to hear from you what it's like inside, how the audience is, the moderators. Boy, oh boy, pray for New York. Pray for a verbal knockout, guys.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.